What's up, business besties?
We're back on our business.
Back on my business.
Let's go. Guys, we are comfy today. But welcome back to Back on My Business podcast, where we talk about business, life, everything sales. And, we really created this podcast because we really wanted to help women. We have gone through so much in sales, and we didn't really have like that women mentorship, or especially me. So I really want to provide a community where we can all come together and help you reach your goals. But my name's Jessie Holland.
And I'm Alex Morales.
And it's been really heavy on my heart that I really want to talk with you guys today about like vision and goal setting, because it's really important when you're getting into business to know what you want to get out of it, right? Like, why are you even getting into business?
Yeah.
And like, what goals do you want to achieve within the business? Because without vision, like, people perish. And if you don't have a vision or a why, it's really hard to wake up some days. So
100%. And I know we talked about in one of our first few episodes making the initial leap or jump to work on yourself, get into sales, get into business. But what we really didn't brush upon is why so many people, especially girls, aren't doing that.
yeah.
Why is it that a lot of people never reach their full potential? Why are people not accomplishing the things that they dreamt of when they were little, So we want to talk all on vision, goal setting, thinking bigger, and really just trying to influence everyone who maybe thinks certain things might not be possible for them. That when you really start to imagine your future and create a life by design, like, you really do start to realize that anything is possible.
Anything is possible. And I really want to open it up with, because I feel like someone talked to me about this and I was like, wow, this is super powerful. I was talking to someone and they were like, well, if you were lying on your deathbed today, like, when you look back on your life, what do you want to say you've accomplished? What legacy do you want to say you left behind? What generational wealth do you want to leave for your family? And that hit me so hard. I was like, wow, I want X, Y, and Z, and I want to leave this life knowing that I didn't leave anything on the table. Like, I did it all. I experienced it all. I created something so big to leave behind for legacies after me. And that helped me think so big, and being able to work that backwards and identify what I want to leave this earth and the impact I want to leave behind helped really broaden like my mindset.
Yeah, and we're tying that into business and sales because we know that sales is a vehicle to really live whatever life you want to live. Like, if you truly want to live a life by design, sales is the route you have to go to. Now, I know, Jessie, you just brushed on like a huge breakthrough that you had mentally. Talk a little about that. When did you have that breakthrough? Because that's just shattering limited beliefs right there.
Yeah. I remember when I got into my second business venture, when I had gotten like brought on, this has stuck with me since that, like the emotion I felt and everything. We had like a meeting and he sat me down and he said, Jessie, close your eyes.
Who's he?
My mentor. Yeah. He said, close your eyes. I want you to imagine 10 years from now, what does your husband look like? How many kids do you have? What house are you living in? Where are you living? What car do you drive? And when I was saying like, oh, I want a house here, what does the house look like? How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, square footage, how big's your yard? Are you on a beach? And doing that exercise, I was like being able to almost like touch and feel the vision, because he was just asking me so many follow-up questions like, what bathtub do you have? Like, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but coming from never thinking big like that, it took me so out of my comfort zone. Because the first thing I said, well, I'll take like a $300,000 home. Like, he's like, well, money doesn't matter, Jessie. So like, what? And I'm like, oh, money doesn't matter. Well, I mean, I'd love to live in like a glass house. Like, so it really helped me open up my mind. And it's important for you to think big And no matter what anyone thinks of you, it's important for you to think big because anything is possible. And sometimes we're so stuck in our limited beliefs or where we came from. And we have this belief for some reason that says you can't do this. That's not possible. You came from here, so you definitely can't get there. And people live with that. And
well, I would like argue that's one of the biggest reasons why most people don't accomplish much is because it's just the limited beliefs and like they don't see that as a possibility for them. Mm-hmm. Do you think it was how you grew up or your environment or what caused you to have limited beliefs? Because that's a huge breakthrough and your life really does change the second you start to realize like I'm literally capable of anything. I could accomplish whatever I want. There's no goal too big. There's no future too bright. Like it's all possible.
Yeah, I think I was just in that bubble of like, well, this is my life. Like, I got to get a degree, or since I dropped out of college, I guess I'm going to just be serving. Like, I wasn't around the right people to guide me and lead me. My mom and dad are absolutely amazing, but they never instilled or asked me those questions or challenged me in a way of like, well, do you ever want to do this? Like, would you ever want to have that? Like, I was just in that bubble. So that meeting that I had with my mentor opened a whole new world for me, and I want people to experience that. I think it's so important to sit down and write your dream life out and know that you can absolutely achieve those things. So
that's such a good point. I want to bring back up like actually writing your goals. I think so many people, because I know you brought up like how you were raised, so many people are like stuck in this mold of what they should be doing. And especially today, like you see so many people like, I need to graduate high school, I need to go to college, I need to find a stable job. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, you're weird if you don't go for college. It's risky if you don't do college. It's risky if you pursue your dreams or pursue something that most people aren't doing. Mm-hmm. So going back to like your environment, did you have a lot of people in your life, friends or anyone you grew up with that was doing things, moving differently, accomplishing bigger things, or was it everyone kind of going down the same path?
Everyone going down the same path. Yeah. I actually can't name one friend that jumped in entrepreneurship. Like, I think I was like the first one, and I, like I had mentioned previously, like that was really hard for me because I lost so many friends. I think that I was kind of like the odd one out. Like, what are you doing? That's risky. Like, we're all doing the norm, and that's totally fine. Like, I support them. I love them. That's their decision. But once I had that initial meeting and I thought bigger, and then I found a vehicle that could provide that, I now am like, anything's possible. Like, whatever you're thinking, and this is what we always preach, you're not thinking big enough. There's always a bigger goal and bigger goal. There's no end point. It's not like, oh, I'm here and I made it. You never make it. You're just always improving and growing to get to the next place.
I think it's huge for girls too, because when I think back to like people I grew up with or even in college, like you see a lot of guys doing entrepreneur things. Like you see guys not working a 9-to-5, not going to college. They are so focused on like, what are ways around the normal? And for me, it took me so long to realize like, if I want to be different, if I want to be like all my role models, I need to move completely different. And most people around me are not moving like that, especially girls, which is why I hope this podcast brings in so many girls, because you're not exposed to it. You're not exposed to as many entrepreneurial routes as a girl.
Yeah, times have changed in sales. Like even within the last 6 years of me being in sales, I've seen women actually be dominating more than male in like the sales industry, which is beautiful, because with the old ways, like women stay at home, you watch kids, which is totally fine. Like that's my dream life. One day I'm going to retire and do that. But I also want to reach my personal full potential. Like, what was Jessie brought on this world to do? And I want to make sure that I'm giving this my all before I do, step into retirement or leave the world,
So did you always know, like, okay, I definitely have a higher calling. I know I'm going to make it. I just don't know if it's when or how, or it literally took you to be introduced to people who are moving differently to like open your eyes?
It did. And that's why people need to get out and network and meet people, because I was in such a bubble of friends for so long, and then I moved to another bubble of friends for so long, but we were just connected through serving. So it's important to go out and network. Like, you need to expose yourself to people, put yourself in places where you can go and meet people. There's conferences you can go to, there's job places. Social media it's everything's at your fingertips on your phone. It's how are you using the platforms to reach and meet these people out there. And you need to just take the leap of faith, reach out. I guarantee you they're more than happy to invite you in, or, you know, walk you through like how to get into their industry. But I want to hear about your story a little bit. Like, you're from Connecticut. Like,
where's Connecticut?
Yeah, I actually didn't know where Connecticut was until I moved away. But yeah, were you like born in like a small town, or?
Yeah, so I'm from Milford, Connecticut. It's like an hour and a half from New York. So I always had the city, but I grew up in Connecticut. I just always knew like I wasn't going to stay there. I didn't see much there for me. And I love Connecticut. It's a gorgeous state. And I think it's such a great place to like raise a family. But for me, I'm like, there is not much opportunity here for me at all. So even like in high school, I was like, I'm definitely going to college out of state. I need to meet other groups of people. I need to see other places. So I've always been one to like just jump at things. I'm pretty like impulsive when it comes to like big decisions. I'm like, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it. And I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to get it done. Okay. So for college, it was the same thing. I was like, I'm going to Florida. I don't know anyone. I'll make it work. And went to Florida, met new people, still didn't really, I knew that I was going to one day make a lot of money, and I knew I was going to live the life that I wanted to live. I just didn't know how. So it really switched for me when I graduated college and went from Florida to Arizona. Again, a whole new state, whole new city that I didn't know anyone in. And what clicked for me is when I was in this city, which you're from Arizona, so you know how Scottsdale is, it was like an entirely new place for me.
Yeah.
And I was still working my 9 to 5 then. And I'm just seeing people operate at a whole different level. Like, you're seeing huge houses here, lavish cars, lavish lifestyles. And I don't want to go like into the materialistic things, but when you're around stuff like that, it's motivation. And on top of that, I'm seeing people not working 9 to 5s. Like, there's so many people here just pursuing their passions and dreams, which, like, again, I don't want to speak badly about Connecticut, but any small city, small state like that, you're not seeing that. So it really opened my eyes to being like, okay, I need to do something differently, because I know the life that I'm going to live. I just need to figure out how. So it really took me switching my environment.
Wow.
Because there wasn't many in college and in Connecticut, there just wasn't too many girls I was around or people who were doing things differently.
So for some people who may not be able to just pick up and leave, and they are maybe in a small town like you came from, what advice do you have for them to maybe get that exposure that you're talking about? Because that obviously really leveled you up being 100%. In this environment. But for someone who can't just up and leave and move, what are some things that you recommend that they do?
Yeah, so I know you tapped into it, but just networking, like, there's so many with social media, especially, besides networking, just pouring into yourself, like, read books, follow people on social media that you want to be like make those people influential in your life. So networking is huge. There's so many like girl groups you can join, entrepreneurial groups that you can join. So just, even if you can't move somewhere, which I know not everyone has that luxury of just being able to pick up and go, there's so many ways in today's age where you can expose yourself to greater things. Yeah. And it really just starts with pouring knowledge into you. Like, if you want to live a certain life, go read books and listen to podcasts and watch videos on how to accomplish that.
Absolutely.
It's all out there.
Yeah. And there's like so many different sales opportunities. You can do virtual sales from home, so you won't actually have to leave. And again, if you guys have questions on that, please reach out. We have a lot of virtual, industries we can help you out with. And then outside, like, I'm sure there's pest control everywhere, like solar,
Right?
things like that.
Yeah.
So that's also a sales position
Yeah,
that you can,
100%.
that's literally necessary everywhere that they need.
Yeah, I guess tying into that, I would say put yourself into a sales position though, really,
Yeah.
because like there's no more bigger opportunity than sales. And that's just what it is. Like, that's a fact in today's age. Like, if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to live the life you want to live, you need to go into sales.
Yeah.
Not just because the money, but because the skills you're going to learn through sales is going to set you up to, if you want to, like, you're going to carry that with you, whether it's chasing your own dream, like going into sales is going to prep you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I love that. So you came to this big town, Arizona. It's funny, guys.
Scottsdale.
Oh, we shared this, but it's so funny. Like, literally, when I left Arizona to Florida, she moved from Florida to Arizona. We literally missed each other.
Yeah, we literally swapped.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, changing your environment is probably, or your current environment, like for more people than you probably think, it's probably holding you back.
Absolutely.
A lot of people.
And even if you just need to distance yourself from like the people that you are surrounding yourself with to spend more time on you and like, you know, working on you, like, that's okay. I've done that too.
But your circle is so huge.
It is.
And that's why if you're not feeling motivated and inspired and like pushed by your people that you're surrounding you with, like, it's not really the right circle you should be in if you're looking to change and do things differently.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like going back to kind of goal setting, because without goals, it's really hard to know what you're working towards. And when I broke down the goal setting earlier down to literally what bathtub do you have, like what car are you driving, that's how specific you need to be with every goal in your life. And when you're able to see 10 years in front of you and what it looks like and work it backwards 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, and then monthly, we had talked about earlier, like setting deadlines, because you want goals that you can reach in a month or two, but you also want the bigger vision in front of you. Why is it important to set deadlines?
Because without a deadline, like you're going to give yourself too much time, and there's so much room to like have excuses or find reasons why you never had it. But when you actually set yourself a deadline, you're like, I need to do A, B, and C to get there. So deadlines are huge, and so is writing down your goals. Like, write down your deadlines. But I know even you said you were writing down like your 10-year vision. It wasn't like, I want to have this much money. It was like, no, I want to drive this car. I want to live in this state. I want to have this many houses. And you, I'm assuming, wrote all of those down.
Absolutely. So I see it all the time. Like, vision boards are good.
Yeah.
Have your 10-year dream in front of you. And then daily in the morning when you're doing like your affirmations and stuff, write down some short-term goals and long-term ones, because you want to keep that in front of you every day. Because again, without that, it could be hard to show up, because we're 1099, or if you're in sales, like, again, it's a choice to show up and work, and some days are harder than not. So those hard days, but when you're waking up with the vision in front of you constantly, it's easier to move. You're more motivated, because you're not going to be motivated every day.
Yeah. And I think an important part of that is like the goals that you're setting, and when you like imagine the life you want to live, they need to be scary. They need to be things that don't seem possible for yourself.
Yeah.
And I know we kind of brush on the circle thing, but again, like, if you're not surrounding yourself around people who are living the life you want to live or have just these big goals, you're going to have limiting goals for yourself. Because if you're around successful people, like, there's no limitation on what they're capable of. There's no goal too big for them. Like, they know that they can accomplish anything. So if you're around the wrong environment, like, you're going to be around people who aren't winning, who aren't doing things differently.
Yeah. It's naturally going to level you up when you're around people, because you don't want to be at the bottom. You're like, how do I get there? And you seeing the way that they move and things like that, you're just naturally going to copy and paste, and it's going to help you improve.
Yeah. And I think that's like one of the biggest pieces, is that you're not surrounding yourself around winners. And I mean that in like the nicest way, but like winners are people who are going after their dreams. Like they're going after whatever they want and they know it's going to happen. If you're not in an environment like that, like it's really detrimental on yourself.
Yeah. We talked about this before starting this episode, and we wanted to touch on, like, if you feel complacent and you don't really know, like, let's just say you've been looking at your past few years and you're like, nothing's changed. I'm just going through my days, like going through the motions. I hope you guys are hearing this and sit down with yourself or your spouse or your loved one and start designing your life. It's never too late. Now's the time, and you can change your circumstances, your situation with the proper mentorship or guidance. And that's really why we started this podcast, because we want to show you guys, like, you can do this. You see, she's from Connecticut. I'm literally I didn't have any goals or ambitions or really dreams, dropped out of college. Like, you could, like, 1 month, 1 year can change your life in sales.
Totally.
1 week can change your life in sales. And I'm so passionate about talking about this because it's literally changed the trajectory of my future and futures to come after me.
And if you're going like throughout your day, your months, your year with no vision or no bigger goal from yourself, it's so easy to stay complacent in things because you're not chasing after anything. That's why I say, like, even more important than chasing after your dream life is like chasing after a better version of yourself. We've talked about this before, but like, if you're not growing, you're dying. You need to be chasing that. And that's how you really elevate, because now it's not the materialistic things that are making you work harder. It's just searching for a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And you can't do that unless you know that anything's possible for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Humans are meant to grow. Like, we're meant to be stretched. We're meant to be put through things to learn and to grow and to develop. So a good thing to look at is, am I being challenged every single day? Like, when I go to bed, do I feel like I really gave my day my all? Like, did I exert myself? Did I leave any impact? Did I go and serve people? If you're not feeling those things, like, that's okay. But I would look inward on maybe finding something where you can go and apply and, help people, but also financially be set,
Yeah.
have opportunity.
I feel like the reason so many people stay like completely complacent is just that at the end of the day, they just don't know what's possible for them. And if you get stuck in a rut, like, it's hard to come out of that unless you make big changes. So like we said this, but the first step is betting on yourself, but you have to first have confidence in yourself to be able to do that. And that is with your environment, writing down your goals, envisioning what your future looks like. Because a lot of people say they want to live a life by design, but are you willing to do what it takes to get there? Like, it's going to take a lot, but it starts today, and it starts with making the decision to do that.
Yes. You got to make the decision. Go all in.
Yeah. And I know, like, so when your mentor sat you down and really told you to, like, imagine your dream life, it was your 10-year goal. How did that look like?
It was small. It was really small. And I was kind of like, but again, this is limiting beliefs. Internally, I was like, this is so uncomfortable, so awkward. Like, what do you mean I could have that one day? What do you mean I can have the car of my dreams? Or because it was just so unnatural to me. I never had anyone sit me down and ask me those questions. So through time, and you guys are going to feel resistance when you're getting into sales, or you're evolving, or you're changing, and that's the process. So through time of working through my limiting beliefs, I'm now like confidently like, I will have that. This will be my future. This is how I'm going to go. Like, this is a legacy I'm going to leave behind. I'm so confident that that's how it's going to be, and there's nothing that's going to stop me.
And the impact of having somebody like your mentor to really tell you, like, hey, Jessie, that's not big enough. That's not going to really make you do, because I had to do the same thing. I did my 10-year dream when I came into the business as well. And I remember I said, like, something probably stupid, like, I want to be financially free by like this. I don't even know what age I said. I think it was like 30 or something. And I remember my mentor, DC, saying like, why is that a 10-year dream when you can make, why is that not a 2-year dream for you? Like, why are you having these limited beliefs on what you're capable of doing? Which is why I think it's so important to make sure that your dreams really do seem impossible, because most of the time when you're setting goals for yourself and you're giving yourself a deadline, most of the time you can actually cut that in half.
Yeah.
You can accomplish that in a lot faster than you think. It's just these limited belief in yourself that's making you like stretch out your dreams.
Yeah, like let's talk about that. It's true, because sometimes I set goals for in a year, but I'm like, I could actually, if I put my head down, I could do this in 30 days.
Yeah.
Like my big production months in sales, like I had this limiting belief, like I could never hit that much production in sales. Like there's absolutely no way. And I did it.
But then after you, like, I don't know if we're talking about numbers and stuff, but when you go out and do like big numbers in a month, it's just crazy, because same thing for me. Like when I started, those numbers seem very, very impossible. And the number above it seems even more impossible. But then the second you hit here, you're like, this is possible.
Yeah.
So it's funny you brought that up, because that's how your goals need to be. Like they need to seem impossible, but once you hit it, you unlock some new possibilities for yourself.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to have little goals within your 10-year dream, because that's building your confidence. Like, oh, I did that. Okay, I could do this. I could do that. And then your 10-year dream seems more attainable. But if I'm just like, I need to be a millionaire in 12 months, which you can go do, but like you want to just make sure you have little goals so that you're not, oh my God, we have to cut this part.
Not giving yourself so much time though. It is true though.
Jessie froze.
Jessie froze up.
By the way, we're keeping this all live. Whatever.
But it's true though. Like most times people set goals, like you do have to break it down, because most of the time people are leaving in some room to slack off a little bit, or to be like, hey, that's okay if I don't hit it. It was a big goal anyways. Like you got to get rid of that.
No, it's like if you want it, like you got to stick
if you
to your word.
Really want something, like you're going to make it happen. But it really just stems down to like the confidence in yourself. Yeah. And now like when you open your mind to endless possibilities, because if you think of any successful person or anyone who has had huge impact on the world, they did it and other people didn't, because they're doing the things that people consider impossible. Yeah. There's no dream too big for them. Like they're going to make it happen. And then until that first person does it, it was impossible.
Yeah.
So it's so important to surround yourself around people like that, because it also just expands your mind. Like a lot of the times the goals you're hitting or setting, they're not that big.
Yeah, they're small. You're like, small. I could do it. If that person can do it, I could do it. Yeah, that's huge. It's really big.
Like what else?
I don't know where this list.
What do we have for time?
I don't know what we're at time.
Okay, I got it. I know what to talk about.
Okay. We'll edit this.
This is gonna need some editing. Yeah, so for people who feel like unqualified, in big quotes, because I don't even think that's like a word, like what advice do you have to get out of that mindset? Because I have been there and I just have felt like, well, I'm unqualified for sales. I'm a female.
If you don't feel unqualified, you're not doing the right things. Like every move you make, you're supposed to feel unqualified, because if you don't, like it's just not a big enough goal or dream for you. So you're going to get that, especially going into sales or going into business for yourself. There's going to be multiple times where you feel unqualified. Yeah. I can't do what they're doing. I can't lead a team. I can't make $1 million. I can't do what he did. But that's where the growth happens. Like that is where the growth lies right there. Yeah. Is when you don't feel qualified. You know how you get qualified? you go through it.
Yeah, you go do it.
And you get through it. And now you're qualified to do it again and teach people how to do it. And then your ceiling becomes your floor. And that's how you need to continue to grow, is like you need to be setting these high ceilings for yourself, working up to it. And if you're really growing as a person and developing, that ceiling should then be a floor for you. And you should always be chasing the next big thing.
That's amazing. So
yeah,
I think what you're saying is also is like your goals should actually scare you. Like
100%.
you should be like, I don't know if I could do that, because I'd rather shoot way higher and land a little bit lower versus shooting really low and not like getting lower.
That's such a good point you just brought up. And they even talk about in the 10X Your Life podcast, like if you set huge goals, even if you come halfway to that, that's still more than your original goal that you set.
Yeah.
Like you're still making huge progress. Like if you set goals too small and you fall short of it,
I mean, I'm still happy sometimes. I'm like, oh,
still be happy, but
yeah,
make your dreams a little bigger.
Absolutely. And that's super powerful, because I've had many months where I'm like, all right, I'm going to go for this. Like back of my mind, I'm like, can I even do it? And like, lo and behold,
that's so normal though.
happens.
Like when you're chasing after any dream, you're in business for yourself, it's so normal to feel unqualified, feel scared, feel like you don't know what you're doing. But so what? Neither did the guy up top or the girl up top. They had to figure it out.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's so important to follow your dreams and chase your dreams, because really the only time like you're not going to hit your dream is if you quit.
Right.
Eventually you're going to figure it out with anything. Like if you go after literally anything in life, through the trials and tribulations, you're going to get there.
Absolutely.
It's inevitable.
Yeah. And I think it's important to talk about too, like, there has been times where I haven't hit a goal and it has like put me out, and I'm like ashamed. I'm mad at myself. And I want you guys to know that that is totally normal in your growth process. And one thing I love about myself is that I want to win. Like I want to hit my goal. And sometimes my goal is like, I'm so fired up for them. And and sometimes when you don't hit it, it can be super upsetting. But I also just want you guys to know, like, don't allow it to take you out. Like, you need to give yourself grace. You need to love yourself, be proud of yourself, and push through. And you can go and shoot for that goal again. Just because you didn't hit it once, just because I know in sales, like when you're going for goals and you don't hit it, can really hurt how you feel. But just keep going after it, no matter what, because you will eventually hit it.
But if you could also just switch your mindset to saying like, it's not happening yet. Like there's lessons that needed to be learned for me to go out and do that. Because it is naive for you to go into something and think right off the bat, like you can hit it your first time. There's some times you can, but most of the time it's going to take you building as a person and going through adversity, overcoming challenges, and learning the lessons you need to achieve that goal. So that's why it's so important. Like you will hit your goal. And if you don't hit it right away, it just means there was things that needed to be learned.
Yeah, absolutely. Like inspect your process. What are things that you can do to improve? How is your time spent? Absolutely. You have to look at it as a learning opportunity, not a failure, because you still got so much better during that process. And then just extend it out a little bit longer and still go after it. Yeah. I think it's super important to just not be hard on yourself. Like, love the journey, set good goals, like, be focused on them. If you need to pivot or, change the goal up a little bit, like that's totally normal. That happens.
And I think it's just so important because we both talked about like where we came from, the environment we grew up in. It's so, so, so important to reshape your past experiences to impact how your future is going to be. Like you can sit and live your life saying, this is why I'm not going to do this, or this is why I'm not going to become the person I am. But the second you reshape what those past experiences meant and did for you, like you really can open your mind up. And if you just shatter those like limited beliefs in yourself and have the mindset, like literally I can accomplish anything. I just have to do things differently, try new things, challenge myself, it's going to be a whole new world for you, really.
Absolutely. I love it. So guys, moral of the story, think big. Like, go out. Like, anything's possible. Bet on yourself every time. Like, if you have this burning desire to be this type of person that you've always dreamt of becoming, you can do it. Like, you really can. You just need to reach out and like find good mentorship. But
100%. 100%.
Let's go.
Say.
Awesome. Well, any other things you want to throw in?
No, I think if you need to lean on anyone, or you need advice, or you're not sure how to go about the things you want to do, the things you want to accomplish, you can always reach out to us. Like, we're still growing and developing and getting better every day, but the circle around you and the people who are influencing your life, they're going to be who's going to push you to do bigger things.
Absolutely. I love it. So well said. Well, thank you guys so much for joining again. If you guys have any questions or want us to dive into anything specific, leave a comment, DM us. We'll personally get back to you. And thank you guys so much for your support. We are loving this. We just literally want to reach the masses and help so many women out there that are looking for mentorship. But we love you guys so much. Thank you for stopping by. We'll see you soon.